hundreds of species of reptiles in the hobby, and most I'm pretty sure you probably know of. However, I bet there's a few that you don't. And that is exactly what we're gonna be talking about today, the top 5 rarest reptiles that you can keep in the reptile hobby. Whether it be from cost, availability, or the fact that you just don't know about them, these are gonna be some animals that you probably have not heard of. So with all that being said, I guess it's time to sit back, relax, dive into some rare reptiles, and roll the intro. And then kicking off this list, we're gonna be starting with number 5, the Bowlins Python. Now honestly, I feel like we just gotta get the Bowlins Python out of the way, you know? It seems to be like the poster child for rare snakes. Now let's be honest, it is no wonder why the Bowlins Python is so sought after. You get this beautiful 8-foot snake with this iridescent rainbow shine. I mean, come on, this is just a fantastic animal. Ranging from the mountains of New Guinea, the Bowlins Python has to be one of the most beautiful snakes. I mean, it's not every day you get this jet black snake with some white stripes, and then of course the iridescent shine that everyone is known to love. However, the question isn't how beautiful the Bowlins Python is, it's why is it a rare snake, or why did it make it on this top 5 list of rare reptiles? That's gonna be for a couple of reasons. Number one, breeding for these guys is pretty much non-existent. We haven't really cracked the code. Now, there has been a handful of people, well, spread out around the world that have done it. I know the most common one is a gentleman from Germany. His name is slipping me right now, which is funny because I've watched a couple podcasts of him about breeding the Bowlins Python, but I can't remember his name off the top of my head. The very reason why they're so hard to breed, which really drives the high price of the Bowlins Python, which kind of makes it a catch-22. The fact is, this animal really with no understanding on how to breed it, how to successfully incubate the eggs and get the hatchlings going, with a high price, there really isn't many people that want to take that plunge, you know, with the multiple thousands of dollars a pair would cost to then attempt breeding it. So we have high expensive reptile that no one really wants to work with because no one can breed them, to no captive bred, to really no vast availability, which then leads to rare reptile. Moving on, we still have a few rare reptiles to talk about, and that is going to bring us to number 4, the Borneo Earless Monitor. The Borneo Earless Monitor. With the name, it does range from Borneo. This very, very small monitor lizard really is just a fascinating creature. Now, I believe the Borneo Earless Monitor is really the closest thing we can get to a dragon look-alike. I mean, just these beautiful scaleless things. We got this great looking chunky head, and of course, these stunning blue eyes. Now, here's the funny thing about the Borneo Earless Monitor, and when it comes to being a rare reptile, it really is the pinnacle of that availability factor. And that's because of the fact is, you can't really legally own them. Technically, as far as my knowledge, just gotta put a quick disclaimer right there. From my understanding, the Borneo Earless Monitor is illegal to keep, illegal to gift or sell, and illegal to export out of the country. However, there is a little bit of that gray area workaround. The fact is, once they are smuggled out of the country, they're fair game. There aren't any laws in place, for instance, in the United States, again, as far as my knowledge, that states you can't keep these guys. However, you can't keep them in Borneo, you can't sell them, you can't grab them, and you can't take them out of the country. But once they are out of the country, they're fair game. I think it's one of those interesting things, like a don't ask, don't tell kind of scenario when it comes to the Borneo Earless Monitor. You know, regardless of all that, all in all, I think they are just an incredible animal, and I'm happy they're here, but I'm not gonna ask how they got here. But before we move on to the next reptile, if anyone has any gripes about that, you know, oh my god, they're illegally taking animals from other countries, that's horrible. That's basically how the majority of our species got here. Pretty much all of our, like, Australian stock, pretty much 90% of really cool reptiles that we have may or may not have or should have been brought over here. I'll just lay that out right now. Moving on, let's get into a snake that is probably one of the coolest looking snakes out there, however, is also probably one of the most pain in the ass snakes to keep. That's going to be number 3, the dragon snake. Let's be real, folks, I don't know how anyone cannot love the dragon snake. I mean, you get this silver snake with these cool little etching scales going down the dorsal, beautiful head, jet black eyes. I mean, this snake is just rad. However, what made this snake be on the list of rare reptiles is the fact that, well, once again, not really much captive breeding, and number 2, the imports that do come in, My god, are they a difficult animal to get going. I think the care and the sensitivity of the species is a really big hindrance of the species itself and being established into captive breeding populations, or really established itself in the reptile hobby. Not only is this snake difficult to care for, just the care parameters are a little bit odd. Now, if you do want to get a dragon snake, this is basically what you do. You get a fairly small bin, about 15 quarts. Of course, these guys not getting very big, around 50 centimeters. So you get your 15 quart bin, you fill it with just pretty much swampy-like substrate. You're gonna want it real wet to retain that 90% humidity. That humidity needs to be retained at 90%. You really can't have any drops or graduations going down and up and spiking. You want it constant 90%. Like dragon snakes require that high humidity, but they also require pretty low temperatures, so I guess isn't a really huge thing. Anywhere around that 72 to 75 is that sweet spot. You really like it in the lower 70s and making it a bit higher. Pretty much 75 is your cutoff point on what you want that's going to be good and have these snakes thriving in there. Number two, they need it dim. You can't light the enclosure in any way, shape, or form. They're also a burrowing snake, so you're not gonna see the thing. So you have this snake that you're keeping in this tiny quart bin that's super high humidity that you can't touch. You can't look at the thing because it's gonna be hiding, and if you interact with it, that's too much stress. It's a sensitive species. It's gonna fail. And then you just shut off the lights and keep it in pitch black when it actually feeds. And speaking of feeding, this isn't one of those fun snakes that eats rodents. Nope, this is gonna be a snake that is going to be eating lizards and amphibians due to the fact that where it is in the world, again, you're thinking from the husbandry. Toad's eating some crunchy greens. Taking a look at the husbandry, of course, they live in the swampy areas and not much rodents over in the swamps, but you know what there are a bunch of? Frogs. So if you're one of the few that actually wants to take the plunge in owning dragon snakes, you can expect sensitive animal that needs a very specific husbandry parameters, and one you don't see too often, and one that you're gonna get a kind of obscure food source. It's not as readily available, of course, as other rodents. But alright folks, getting down this list, we only have a couple more reptiles to talk about, and that is gonna bring us to number 2, the elephant trunk snake. Now I know what you guys are thinking. Elephant trunk snake, never heard of it, and for good reason. Elephant trunk snakes seem to be they seem to be scarcely owned in the hobby, and that's gonna be a fact for a couple reasons. Number one being, they are a fully aquatic snake. Not only are elephant trunk snakes fully aquatic, they also get very large, ranging around the 8.5 feet as far as adults go. That is going to be a large snake that's going to need a lot of water. Now, if that wasn't on enough for you and kind of deterrent to take away from the elephant trunk snake, I mean, the fact that you need a very large, probably 300-gallon pond for the elephant trunk snake, maybe bigger, I don't know, because I personally wouldn't own one. That isn't going to be that's only the top of the mountain of the reasons why elephant trunk snakes are rare. Definitely another thing is the fact is, again, super sensitive animal. As far as the care aspect goes for elephant trunk snakes, they are going to need a water temperature around the 82 to 86 degree area. Much like fish keeping, you need to keep the pH balance for the elephant trunk snake at around 5, which is a pretty, what's the word for base? Acidic is higher, so base, I don't know what that is. You gotta keep it pretty low than the standard, 7.5 usually for the tropical fish. Not only for that, there definitely is a pain in the butt factor for the elephant trunk snake, or really when it comes to any aquatic snake keeping, question mark. The fact is you're going to be needing to do regular water changes, things like that, making sure that the water is all good. Really just an added pain in caring for an animal, especially when you're caring for a reptile. However, you need to also bring in fish care stuff because aquatic snake? And I bet you've already guessed it, and you are right, viewer. The elephant trunk snake does not eat rodents as well. They are primarily going to feed on fish and frogs, so if you're keeping anything like the feeder fish in there, again, you're going to want to account for that with the water change and everything, making sure that there's no spikes in things like nitrogen, ammonia, things like that. Of course, anything like your common goldfish, they are going to create a lot of ammonia. They're just a dirty fish, which means a lot more cleaning is involved with that to make sure that not only the fish are good for the food, for again, your aquatic snake. I can't say that enough. Aquatic snake? An aquatic 8.5-foot snake? I want to see one. If someone has an elephant trunk snake, hit me up. I want to make a video about it. But alrighty, folks, here we are, the last reptile on this list. This is going to be one that is, I would probably say, one of my dream reptiles. They're an absolutely gorgeous animal, not very known for, and quite expensive. It is going to bring us to number 1, the Chinese crocodile lizard. The what? I mean, just take a look at this thing, folks. An incredible lizard. You've got these almost bead-like scales going on. Of course, that gorgeous red that's really gonna catch everyone's eye. And all in all, just a really cool lizard. Kind of mimics the Boa Earless Monitor we talked about a little bit ago. And I think that's the fact that both species are semi-aquatic. And so I feel like their scale makeup is a reflection of that. However, we're not here to talk about how amazingly cool the Chinese crocodile lizard is. We're here to talk about why it is a rare animal, and that's going to be the fact is, they're endangered. Yes, Chinese crocodiles are an endangered species. You really aren't gonna see much of them. It's really gonna hit, again, that availability aspect. When they're endangered, really hard to get them. There's a lot more laws in place restricting importation, anything like that. A lot more stuff's gonna be regulated. As far as my knowledge, I don't believe you can import Chinese crocodile lizards anymore. I could be wrong about that, but that's just as far as what I know. And with that being said, there really aren't that many in captivity or in the hobby itself to exchange. That availability aspect is definitely gonna reflect the price. Chinese crocodile lizards going for a couple of grand. I believe the last time I saw one for sale, it was ranging around the $2,000 to $3,000 mark. All in all, I think the Chinese crocodile lizard is definitely an amazing animal. It's definitely something I'm gonna want in the future, and for the lucky few that are actually able to get their hands on you, I'm a little jealous. I'm a little jealous you got them because I really want one. Right, folks, there you have it. The top 5 rarest reptiles that you can own in captivity. But now it's your turn. Leave me a comment in the comment section. What was your favorite rare animal of today? And do you think I missed one? Do you think there's a rarer animal than the ones I stated in this list? Drop a comment and let me know. Of course, while you're down there, you know, it wouldn't hurt hitting that like button, subscribe button for old Dakota. And if you haven't gotten enough of this top 5 video content goodness, we got a couple videos going on, folks. We got a playlist right here or right here stating about a bunch of top 5 videos I've done over the years on YouTube. We got a couple other videos that are really awesome. Check out, of course, the subscribe button if you don't want to go all the way down there. They're right there. Hey. Well, that's my spiel. I'll see you later, guys. Until next time, goodbye.